good evening. Welcome. This is News Tonight. I'm Nana Abba Anamwa.
And my name is GHOne News Tonight. We bring you some of the headline stories making headlines in the country. We'll also go out of the country and bring you some international news.
Coming up are the headlines. More than 100 people sustained severe injuries in a multiple gas explosion in Sekondi, Takoradi.
Here in Accra, AMA boss outlines plans to realize the president's promise to make Accra the cleanest city in the country.
Sports Minister hints of another major disaster in the sector if the Accra Sports Stadium is not closed down for repair works immediately.
Tonight we'll bring you some.
Well, the chairman of the May 9 Disaster Commission wants recommendations incorporated into plans for construction of government's 5 new stadia.
Also on E-Zone, we will bring you some local tourist sites that you can swing on ropes with excitement.
More than 100 people have sustained first and second degree injuries resulting from the multiple gas explosions that happened earlier today on the Sekondi-Takoradi Road in the eastern region. The injured were rushed to the Takoradi Port and the Efiankwanta regional hospitals.
According to eyewitnesses and officials from the Ghana National Fire Service, the explosion occurred early Tuesday morning when a gas tanker was discharging gas close to the Total filling station on the main Takoradi highway. In the process, an anomaly was discovered, so the fire service officials were called in to rescue the situation. While they were working to address the situation, the very tanker that was receiving the gas exploded, injuring all 5 fire servicemen who were there. This alarmed the police, who ran for their dear lives, and in the process, the other tanker that was also discharging gas exploded. The firemen, who were having a hard time fighting the blaze, were also injured.
So far, we've been able to protect the Total filling station and to protect the gas filling station that they were not affected. So when we came initially, as some were fighting the fire, some were also protecting these 2 facilities, because if the fire gets to this 2 facilities, it will be dangerous. So I was able to protect it, and there's no fire. Now the fire itself is.
The gas explosion, which got into the atmosphere, ended up injuring those who were using the road, students at a nearby school, and employees of a Metro Mass depot.
Luckily, the extent of injuries aside that we can handle them here. But in terms of resource, you never know the extent of mass casualties that will come. But for this one, we have enough resources locally to handle it.
All right, so pictures from Sekondi, Takoradi, the gas explosions becoming one too many. Tonight, let me share some statistics with you now. 96 persons died while 486 sustained various degrees of injuries in 19 reported cases involving liquefied petroleum gas explosions between 2007 and 2015. Now, further details on this particular one. Now, 2 people died when a gas cylinder exploded at a fuel station at Englishi, Amanfrom, near Kaswa in August 2015. I'm sure those in the enclave would remember this particular development. Moving on, the explosion occurred while a cylinder was being repaired. Now, that particular incident in Englishi. So let's move on and get some more. In 2006, 12 people were killed with over 40 others sustaining various degrees of injuries when a gas tanker exploded around the International Trade Fair Center. Now, that was major news in and around the country, and I'm sure not too long ago you could recollect that particular incident. Previously, in the same year, 9 people died from a gas tanker explosion at the Tinga market in Bole district up north in the country. So let's just get some more details on this. Now, no reasons have been attributed to the incident. The incident is said to have spread fast to houses in the area. The explosion occurred, causing massive damages. So no concerns have been given yet immediately. Now, the latest this year is the Takoradi gas explosion that left over 30 people with severe burns, and you saw the pictures on your screens a short while ago. So it left well over 30 people with severe burns at the Efiankwanta Regional Hospital in the Western region. The Port Hospital also received some patients as well. So these are some statistics that we have for you. Now, most of these cases are said to be caused by irresponsible human errors by the operators of the gas facilities, yet regulators are not biting enough. So tonight we would want to get the bits question there. Now, that's the niggling question. Do regulators issue permits without recourse to safety, or who is napping on the job? And I'm sure Nanaba Anamwa will have more details on this particular issue. So well, I'll hand it over to you, and I'm sure you have some details coming up.
Of course, thank you very much. Kweku Timing there with the trajectory of gas explosions in the country. Let's go to the Takoradi area and talk to Dr. Richard Anthony. You saw him earlier in our first story. He's the doctor attending to more than half of the injured at the Efiankwanta hospital. Thank you so much for joining me. If you can hear me, good evening to you. Not exactly a very good evening, but it's good to have you on the phone. What can you tell us? What is the toll at the moment?
So trickling in. So at the moment, we have seen a total of 86 clients. And as I said, as the day went by, we've been discharging as and when we think they are stable to go home. So currently within the hospital, we have about 20 on admission at the moment because a lot of them have been discharged home.
Okay, now we understand that these injuries have been classified into first and second degree injuries. Can you educate us? What is a first degree injury? What is a second? How serious are these two?
The first degree burns is just when the skin fills up. It doesn't involve the deeper tissues of the skin. That is just the skin peeling off, like you have blisters and the skin peels off, so you can see the underlying skin. Second degree is when it's a bit deeper. It takes, apart from the skin, it takes part of the subcutaneous tissue off. That is, the skin has layers. So the covering is the skin. When it's off and it's exposed, then that's first degree. Second degree, when it's a little deeper. So most of these are minor burns, if I'll classify them. But then the extent burn is what is important, because sometimes you have the part of the chest, the front and the back. Some have just the arms, some have around the arms and the thigh, others have it around the neck. And the one referred, because of the location, the neck, and also had inhalation of the smoke and heat. He had a inhalational injury. That's the one we have referred to King Post Teaching Hospital.
Okay.
So in a spokesman's language, that is how.
All right. And so how many of the patients in your care at the moment have second degree injuries?
About 20 degree.
Okay, so they are the ones on admission.
Yes, the ones on admission, those on admission, some had fractures, some had neck injuries, and then some also have burns. Those are the ones that cannot go home now.
Okay. And how many of them are children?
In fact, from the list I have, the youngest is 19 and the oldest is 75 years.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Richard Anthony. He's a doctor at the Fiam Kwanta Government Hospital in Takoradi. And that will be it for Insights for tonight.
All right, so we'll take other stories now, and it's May 9th, so remembering some of the issues around it. But even before then, Minister of Youth and Sports Isaac Esiama has proposed immediate closure of the Accra Sports Stadium to avoid any major disaster in the near future. Well, according to the minister, if major repair works are not carried out on the stadium soon, it will collapse. Now, the minister spoke with our reporter Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe after this year's commemoration of the May 9th stadium disaster.
With another victory
it has been 16 years already since the May 9 stadium disaster that claimed over 127 football fans. Fans of the two rival clubs, Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Oak, died in a stampede that ensued following a protest by supporters of the two teams against decisions of the referee during the 10th midweek league match in 2001. Hearts of Oak scored 2 late goals to defeat Kotoko 2-1, which resulted in the defeated Kotoko fans ripping off their plastic seats and throwing them onto the pitch. They threw chairs, bottles of water and other missiles in their anger. The police who were present at the time responded by firing tear gas into the milling crowd in a bid to quell the action and restore order, but that move was led to a stampede and subsequently the death of 127 persons from asphyxia, with several others sustaining various degrees of injury. Known as the Black Wednesday, it's a day supporters and families of both clubs come together to commemorate one of the darkest days in Ghana's football history. At a program to mark the 16 years of the disaster, Sports Minister Isaac Esiama noted that not much lessons have been learnt from the disaster.
I toured this facility and I was sad. And you are here. Look at it. Massive corrosion all over the place. You see, maintenance should be regular, should be routine. When you do it regularly, it doesn't get to this worst stage because you would have solved it gradually. Now, we need huge amount of money to fix it. What we have here. But then, if we have been doing it yearly or 2 years interval, do have gotten to this stage that we find ourselves regular, routine, regular maintenance. That is the culture we like, and that is something we need to bring back. An effective maintenance culture. This facility needs to be closed down for repair works to be undertaken because there's a looming danger if we should continue to use this facility. And there is a technical report that we have, and you see it, you check it. Massive corrosion all over the place. So we need to fix this facility.
Let's move on to other stories now. The absence of a health facility in Adiemra, a rural community in the Adansi East district of the Ashanti region, has forced most women into acting as midwives by giving antenatal care to pregnant women. Men, children and other female inhabitants who fall sick have to be carried on makeshift wooden stretchers to travel on foot for more than 30 minutes to the closest community to board vehicles to the nearest health facility. Here's a report by Alice Aite.
Adiembra is a rural community in the Adansi East district of the Ashanti region, with farming as the mainstay of the people. Before anyone gets to the town, they are greeted with dust and bumping on the bad road, riddled with potholes that lead to the town. Farmers in this town have difficulties in transporting their farm produce to the nearest markets as drivers refuse to come to the town due to the poor state of the road.
We don't even know how to sell our produce or get them to the markets due to the bad roads here. Those who come to buy them here buy it at their own prices, and we don't even get money to properly take care of our children.
Aside farming, Adiambra has many local gin or akpeteshi producers, but just like the farmers, they do not get to transport their goods to the market. Barrels of unsold akpeteshi can be found in the producers' homes because of the inability to transport them for sale. Depressed by the difficulty in transporting their goods, the akpeteshi distillers and other residents consume majority of the alcohol within the community.
I don't get people to buy the alcohol I produce. I therefore leave them at home. Friends and family members end up drinking all that I produce without paying for it.
Besides the hassle residents, including school children, go through each day to get to closer towns, the community lacks almost all other basic amenities that make life worth living. The absence of a potable water source, electricity and a health facility has become a huge burden on residents. Anytime someone falls sick, a makeshift wooden stretcher is made and used to carry the sick on a tedious and perilous journey for more than 30 minutes to the nearest community to access health care. Residents reenacted their struggles to the news team. Pregnant women in this community do not receive any antenatal care, a situation which sometimes results in stillbirths. Old women in the town have now become midwives, aiding pregnant women when in labor.
There are no cars here to transport people to the hospital when they are sick or when a woman is in labor. If you are not lucky, you may even die before you get to the nearest town or clinic.
Few of the pregnant women who spoke to the news team off camera said they have no option than to resort to the local or self-proclaimed midwives because they fear the dangers involved in having to...
Taken by the Rotary Club of Accra and was aimed at improving on some facilities at the center.
Until its refurbishment, the police hospital maternity ward was in a sorry state, leading to an increase in the number of maternal mortality cases. In 2015, 9 maternal deaths were recorded at the police hospital. The situation reduced to 2 in 2016, but officials say that it is unacceptable for even 1 maternal death to be recorded in the country. It was in the light of this that the Rotary Club of Accra took up the mandate to refurbish the police hospital.
In Rotary, we believe that child and maternal health is very important. And a club located in Osu, we decided that why not just come here, very close to us, to find out how the things are. And when we came around, we realized that no, there's a lot we could do. So we decided to settle on police hospital maternity ward.
Medical director of the police hospital, Issa Musa, says the refurbished ward would help mothers to deliver in a better and more conducive environment.
We're going to improve the health delivering care of the police hospital. And then we know that many more women will come to deliver here because now that this facility is completed, it's going to attract a lot of people.
Some expectant mothers who were at the launch shared their excitement with the news team.
Previously, we were, I think, like more than 10 at the former ward, or I should say. And seeing this one today, I'm so excited. I'm very excited because 2 in a room, you feel comfortable, you know, washroom and everything. It's in place. I love it.
With the new maternity ward, and I think it's very nice, and the government should continue on helping with the maternity.
The Rotary Club says it is going to undertake more of such projects to promote peace, fight diseases, as well as save mother and child.
Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection Otiku Afisa-Jaba has underscored the need to urgently pass the Affirmative Action Bill into law to drastically change the gender inequality in the country. She said the absence of the law has brought up several discriminative actions against women in the country.
The representation of women in leadership positions in the country has been a bane for most feminist and women advocates for several years, as the number of women appointed in various government positions have not been encouraging. Ghana is currently ranked 150 out of 185 in the Interparliamentary Union ranking on women representation in parliament across the world. Despite the country's impressive democratic credentials, evidence from the previous elections indicates that the participation of women is very low, while the appointments of women into leadership and governance positions have also remained low over the years. At a meeting in Accra to review the Affirmative Action Bill, the Gender Minister, Otiku Afisa-Jaba, decried discrimination against women at all levels and urged participants of the meeting to critically review the bill for a quick passage into law.
An equal access to social economic power and justice, including lack of respect for and inadequate protection and promotion of human rights of women. Inequalities between women and men in the sharing of power and decision-making at all levels and in dealing with all kinds of conflicts and insecurities and threats on women. That is why somebody will think that because he is a man, he must decide how we develop the processes of re-engaging school-feeding caterers, because Ghana is a man's world. We must change all these perceptions of women.
The Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, and a former First Lady, Nana Konadu Rawlings, also called for a swift passage of the bill into law to rectify discrimination on the basis of sex or gender by redressing social, economic, and educational gender imbalances.
This country is going nowhere until women get their rightful places. It's not going anywhere. You take 2 steps ahead of us, we'll pull you back 4 steps. We look after the children, we look after the water bodies, we look after the environment, we look after the food you eat. So all those things will come together to make the country, you know, the first level country that we want to be. But if we leave the women behind, trust me, it's not going to help this country.
The Affirmative Action Bill, which is under review, seeks a 40% representation and participation of women in governance, public positions of power and decision-making.
Police in Tamale have rounded up 8 female Nigerian nationals who have allegedly invaded the northern region to engage in prostitution.
The police headquarters area have been used as an open brothel where these Nigerian girls practice their trade. Confirming the arrest to GHOne News, Police Public Relations Officer ASP Mohammed Yusuf Tanko said the women were arrested upon a report by a citizen.
They were suspected to be engaging in prostitution. So when the report was made, men were detailed to find out exactly what they used to do around that place. The men suspected them to be engaging in soliciting for prostitution. So they were arrested and brought to the station where their statements were taken.
Mohammed Yusuf Tanko further noted that the alleged prostitutes were put into custody but have all been granted a police inquiry bail. It is, however, unclear the state of police investigations, but GHOne News checks revealed that the suspects have found a new location for their illicit activities.
Remember the days when we had a ministry for the beautification of the capital city? Well, that talk is back. The mayor of Accra, Jae-In, has rolled out plans to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa, in line with the president's vision for Ghana. Now, how many times have you not heard this? The mayor is targeting a 3-pronged strategy, which includes waste management, beautification of the city, and the enforcement of existing laws to achieve this aim.
The new mayor of Accra, Nia Jae-In, as part of his aim at making Accra the cleanest city in Africa, intends to sign up private waste management companies deal effectively with waste issues in the capital. Accra has now been categorized into 15 areas, each of which has been allotted to a private waste management company. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly also intends to embark on a massive waste bin distribution exercise to ensure every household is clean.
We will be tough on excessive generation and indiscriminate disposal of all types of waste, solid, liquid, medical, hazardous emissions, as well as land, water, and atmospheric pollution.
On Accra's beautification plan, the mayor said he will promote stunning architectural designs, urban landscaping, beautification of open spaces, and tree planting activities to boost tourism and promote investment.
In addition to being clean, Accra must look attractive at all times to give residents and visitors a sense of pride. Beautiful cities attract talents, investments, and economic activities, thereby increasing the city's unique contribution to the nation's GDP. Beautification is also a known driver of tourism, which in turn enhances business activities in the city.
The mayor also spoke of plans to reinvigorate and reinforce existing laws in the country to keep in check errant and deviant citizens. Meanwhile, the AMA indicated that it will soon replicate the recent demolition exercise at the Kwame Nkrumah interchange in other parts of Accra as part of efforts to keep the city clean.
Let's now move on to Cape Coast, where the paramount chief of Ogua traditional area, Osaberima Kwesiata II, has charged the newly elected Metropolitan Chief Executive of Cape Coast, Ernest Arthur, to focus on succeeding in his new role.
The paramount chief advised the new municipal chief executive to be assertive in pursuing his vision for the municipality, explaining that the people of Ogua are hard to please.
Especially in Cape Coast. More so in Cape Coast. Our and your focused. Now agenda and follow agenda. You cannot make this.
Speaking at the Enimtimaze Palace during a courtesy call by the new MCE, Osaberima Kwesiata II asked Ernest Arthur to involve the chiefs in decisions. He promised the chief support in pursuing developmental projects that would benefit the Cape Coast municipality. Newly confirmed Metropolitan Chief Executive of Cape Coast pledged to heed the chief's call and consult during his term in office.
Exactly so, they are custodian of the land. The land belongs to them. We are just passing through. So if you ignore them at your own risk. You really have to work with them. And like he said, if you want to succeed, you should be closer to them. And that's exactly what we are going to do.
All right, you're watching News Tonight on GHOne TV. The District Chief Executive nominee for Nandom, Thaddeus Ansonglinan, has received a 100% endorsement from Assembly members of the various assemblies.
The 31-member assembly, who were all present, voted to confirm the president's nominee, Thaddeus Ansonglinan, as the new district chief executive for Nandom. The president's nominee until the confirmation was the presiding member of the assembly. Addressing the House before the confirmation, Minister for the Interior, Ambrose Derry, who is also the member of parliament for the area, admonished the members of the House to ensure that the nominee gets a 100% endorsement, as has been done in the past.
I think that to the Nandom District Assembly, the nomination of the president is a vote of confidence in the Nandom District Assembly. The president has chosen no other person than a member of the District Assembly. So I think it's a vote of confidence by the president. I think you should clap for yourself.
The Upper West Regional Minister Suleimana Al-Hassan, on his part, indicated that the confirmation of the nominee will set the tone to solving the numerous developmental challenges confronting the district.
What I only need to urge honorable members is that as a family, we must work together, we must play together, we must eat together, and we must do everything together to continue to uphold the unity of our assembly and the district as a whole.
The new DCE pledged his commitment to work towards the advancement of the district.
I can assure you there is more hope and there is light at the end of the tunnel. Ladies and gentlemen, I am also determined to offer a leadership that will unite this district and foster peaceful coexistence among the various ethnic and interest groups that live in the district to engender development. I am also aware that the majority of our people are still wallowing in the quagmire of abject poverty, and this requires all hands on deck to enable us to surmount the enormous developmental challenges that confront us as a people.
All right, so we're taking a break in a while, but if I had my way, I would have called for Osaberiman's voice to be played again. I mean, was it English or was it the typical Fanti?
How else do you know that he's in charge of Cape Coast? Oh. That's how we sound on a normal day.
So, more soon.
Yep, we'll break. We'll be right back.
Every 60 minutes, scoliosis attacks a child in Ghana. These children will be stigmatized for life. They will die slowly and painfully as the twisting spine crushes their internal organs. All before the age of 25. What will you do to help?
The Foundation of Orthopedics and Complex Spine, FOCUS, announces its first ever fundraising event in Ghana. The event will take place at the Movenpick Ambassador Hotel on Saturday, 13th May at 6 p.m. Proceeds from the event will go into the Focus Endowment Fund to support needy children who require surgery.
Interested persons can contribute towards the fundraising at 600 Ghana cedi for one or 1,000 Ghana cedi for two, or call 020-0000-856 through Unibank account number 02-11311-006781, the World Trade Center branch.
I hope these surgeries will be done so that I can be on my own and I will not depend on someone to be taken out of me.
Hello there, and you're most welcome to television's best experience.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back.
This is beautiful.
Even while we sleep.
I really want you to come go with me on this exciting journey.
Say how they come,
This is the beast. This is the Rolls Royce Phantom. It's fun, it's insightful, it's exclusive. This is Revealed. My name is Bolare, and this is my show.
Catch Revealed this and every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. with a repeat on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Revealed with Bolare, proudly brought to you by Bel Air Rare Lux, Legend Group, and Unibank, caring for you.
Welcome back to the news tonight. Coming up now is Abena Owusu Nyameche. the business news. Good evening to you, Abna.
Good evening, Nana. Tonight, the World Bank is assuring that Ghana will be able to produce power in excesses, and also will bring you some of the issues that came to light at the Fiscal Council Forum by the IEA. Now, the World Bank is optimistic that Ghana is in the best position to export power to its neighboring countries within the next 4 years. According to Country Director Henry Kerali, the investments made by the country in the energy sector will result in an oversupply of power in the country. He disclosed this at a post-spring meetings discussion here in Accra.
The World Bank projects there will be at least 1.5 gigawatts of excess electricity in the next 4 years in Ghana. The Bretton Woods institution says that development is the result of the numerous power purchasing agreement entered into by the Mahama-led administration. Country Director Henry Kerali urged the country to enter into discussions with the neighboring countries early so the excess power would take advantage of the power needs in the sub-region to make Ghana a net exporter of power.
The government will need to discuss with the neighboring countries how much to sell and for what price. And at the same time, the government, we understand, is reviewing the number of PPAs that were signed by the previous government in order to see how best to reschedule some of these in order to match the demand of electricity in Ghana. Current administration, the new government, is reviewing these in order to try and limit the excess payments or the payments for excess electricity that will not be consumed in Ghana.
Kerali, however, expressed worry that some of the PPAs were negotiated with very high cost, which could make Ghana's energy tariffs uncompetitive in the sub-region.
We discussed the potential for energy trade in the region. Perhaps Ghana could sell some of this excess electricity to neighboring countries. There are, of course, challenges of the infrastructure connecting Ghana with the other countries, but there are also challenges with the tariff levels that the energy market in the region can sustain. Nevertheless, that is an opportunity for Ghana to explore.
He therefore called for a renegotiation of some of the PPAs in order to drive down the cost component, which would help make Ghana's energy tariffs competitive in the sub-region.
Now, Ghana is no stranger to corruption, although a much better performer at minimizing graft compared to most African countries. In fact, it was ranked 64th corrupt country in the world in 2012. To help curb the practice, government plans to establish a fiscal council which will adopt and implement rules to anchor fiscal policy implementation. Today, the Institute of Economic Affairs has been debating ways to make the council work in order to check fiscal slippages. EIB correspondent Lerato Lesoso was there and has the rest of the story.
Fiscal slippages have been fingered for Ghana's growing budget deficit. This year, the Finance Ministry projected government plans to reduce the deficit to 6.5% from the current 9%. To help check deteriorating deficit, government has promised to set up a fiscal council. The correlation between large fiscal deficit and stifled economic growth cannot be understated. At a workshop organized by the Institute of Economic Affairs Ghana, Chairman of the Finance Committee in Parliament, Dr. Mark Esibe Yeboah, highlighted the economic status of Ghana.
Fiscal policy actually look at how one to ensure macroeconomic stability in a way that will enhance growth and at the same time ensure fiscal sustainability. So there are two main goals often for fiscal policy. One, ensuring macroeconomic stability by way of fiscal sustainability, and at the same time, it has to be consistent with economic growth.
He also pointed out to government's failure in overcoming the temptation of splurging funds, especially during election years, in order to please voters, a development he laments throws the country off course in achieving its fiscal goals.
Politicians will often have that tendency to spend more, which is often there. And so the idea is that you can see it, and often when you have very weak macroeconomic fundamentals, you often will see in many cases that you have fiscal deficit. Always, more because there's always the tendency to spend because you have accommodative policy, you want to meet your people's desires, you want to spend to expand the economy and all that. And so when you leave politicians, they will spend.
Although the new government is optimistic and eager to cooperate with the idea of a fiscal council in Ghana, not everyone welcomed the presentation in good faith.
It's good to hear the IEA outline their theoretical learnings from all over the world, and it's good to hear their suggestions. We would encourage other civil society groups to share with us their thoughts so that all of it can be factored into the final decisions of government on tightening this fiscal responsibility regime in this country.
The independence is in the papers, the law, the constitution, but government will find a way of reducing the funds that may be available to you, the way they submit the funds, the way they transfer the funds to you through the Controller and Accountant General, which will make sure that you don't get the funds to do the work. And therefore, where is your independence?
Fiscal councils are not very popular in Africa. Only 3 countries in Africa are currently making use of fiscal councils, namely South Africa, Kenya and Uganda. Yet those countries continue to suffer disturbing levels of deficits. According to recent data, Kenya's own deficit hovers around 9.3% in spite of having established a fiscal council. Should Ghana push through with a fiscal council, it will seem much more will have to be done to check its dwindling fiscal space.
Now, sub-Saharan Africa is projected to take a break from the more than 2-decade low growth rate. Things are looking up for the continent thanks to, among other things, a recovery in oil production in Nigeria.
The International Monetary Fund projects economic growth in sub-Saharan Africa to recover slightly to 2.6% this year, a rebound driven by high public spending in Angola ahead of that country's elections, revamp in oil production in Nigeria, and fading of drought effects in South Africa. However, resource-rich Nigeria, Angola and Central Africa's 6-nation SMAC bloc are still struggling to deal with the losses caused by low oil prices. In non-oil producing countries such as Ivory Coast, Kenya and Senegal, growth is expected to remain strong at over 5%, but vulnerabilities such as rising public debt are starting to emerge. For a decade, Sub-Saharan African economic growth of around 5% during foreign investment, but that is drying up with economic growth now barely keeping up with population growth. The World Bank also expects growth of 2.6% this year, expanding to 3.2% in 2018 and 3.5% a year later.
And that's all we have for you in Business Tonight. My name is Abna Usinyameche. Back to you, Nana and Kwiku.
Thank you very much, Abna, with the business news.
Quite interesting updates that she has there. Lerato Lesoso, I'll fish out for all those details. Fantastic right. Reports there.
Absolutely. We're bringing you the weather updates now.
Enough! Abba! Plenty medical bills. I have tried different methods and it hasn't prevented thing. My son has been in the hospital twice this year because of malaria. I haven't had a good night's sleep in years. But now no more. Since I painted with Fly insecticide paint. Copy.
Fly insecticide paint kills mosquitoes dead for up to 2 years. It is a quality paint, a healthier option, and it's totally safe for humans and pets.
Take my word for it. Paint malaria out. Use Fly insecticide paint now.
Fly, for a pest-free life.
The weather is brought to you by
Fly for a pest-free life.
Enough! Abba! Plenty medical bills. I have tried different methods and it hasn't prevented sin. My son has been in the hospital twice this year because of malaria. I haven't had a good night's sleep in years. But now no more. Since I painted with Fly insecticide paint. Copy.
Fly insecticide paint kills mosquitoes dead for up to 2 years. It is a quality paint, a healthier option, and it's totally safe for humans and pets.
Take my word for it. Paint malaria out. Use Fly insecticide paint now.
Fly for a pest-free life.
2 guests, 1 host, forming a panel of 3 lawyers. Each week, discussing relevant legal topics.
As soon as the court grants the adoption order, that child is no longer the child of the natural parent.
There isn't a single text in our law books which would come close to forcing a kid in his mature age to take care of his parents.
The gossips.
Yeah.
You've heard it is baseless. You move on from house to house discussing it. They can sue you for defamation.
If you go to office and you don't work, when is the end of the month? Feel shy. Don't go to the bank, please.
Some people actually sign prenups at the wedding ceremony. Actually, they sign it first and then they sign the certificate. What is this?
Law Express. Be empowered.
Hello there, and you're most welcome to television's best experience.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back.
This is beautiful.
Even while we sleep.
I really want you to come go with me on this exciting journey.
Say how they come, that far.
This is the beast. This is the Rolls-Royce Phantom. It's fun, it's insightful, it's exclusive. This is Revealed. My name is Bolare, and this is my show.
Catch Revealed this and every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. with a repeat on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Revealed with Bolare, proudly brought to you by Bel Air Rare Lux, Legend Group, and Unibank, caring for you.
Golo, up, Golo.
All right, so it's time now for sports. Not a very interesting day. I mean, remembering the May 9 disaster and then the gas explosion, all on May 9. Well,
I dread this day.
Yes, but let's go to Dennis Mapuri with the latest in news.
Well, hello, Nanaba and the team. Of course, we've got a lot to talk about in the world of sports today. There was a commemoration of the May 9th disaster that happened 16 years ago. I'm in a very somber state as I speak because the scene's still flashing in my memory. We'll talk about all that. Plus, there's also news on Kwesi Appiah as he paid a visit to a sponsor of the Black Stars. I'll reveal all the details on that story. Plus, a donation on juvenile football to help revive colds in the country.
Sports Brief is brought to you by Castlegate Real Estate Group.
Castlegate Estate Ghana Limited
has evolved with new management and administration and positioned itself to serve you better. Seize this opportunity to do business with us by reserving a plot this year and start your own construction today. Castlegate Estate also has near complete or shell houses and serviced plots at prime locations on offer for sale at Katamanso, Tema Community 22 and 25 extensions, Dodua and Prampram at very affordable prices. Our fully serviced plots come with electricity, pipe-borne water and road network. These plots are now selling fast. Just call our new management team and book appointment for free site visits. Castlegate Estate. We make home ownership easier.
And now we begin sports this evening with the very latest news. We begin with the May 9th Stadium Disaster Commemoration because the chairman of the May 9th Stadium Disaster Commission, Sam Okujeto, has told GH1 Sports that the commission's recommendations must be incorporated into the architectural plans for the construction of government's proposed 5 new stadia that will be in the 5 regions that have been mentioned in the budget as well. According to the recommendations, any stadium in this country, according to FIFA standards, are expected to have more than 7 wide exit gates at the stands and also a stadium clinic as well as safety staff, to mention a few in a case of another disaster.
If a committee or commission was charged with the responsibility of not only investigating why the event happened, but what remedies there are that can guide for the future. And those recommendations have been accepted. And indeed, people should not even forget that before we went and completed our work, we actually went to England and inspected several other sports stadiums over there, spoke to people who are involved in safety and security before we made the recommendations that we made. So I think it's a challenge, and I will ask those who are involved in the design of the stadia to go back to the drawing board and look carefully at the recommendations that we have made and ensure that they are incorporated.
And that was the then chairman of the May 9 Stadium Disaster Commission, lawyer Sam Okujeto, speaking exclusively to GH1 Sports. We'll now move on to national team football news because returnee Ghana coach Kwesi Appiah was today introduced Unibank, the official bank of the Black Stars, following the appointment of the former Sudan club Al Hartoum Watani coach last month on a 2-year deal. The managing director of Unibank, Felix Nyakopong, charged Coach Appiah not only to help Ghana secure qualification for the Cameroon 2019 AFCON, but also to deliver the title and end the wait for an AFCON trophy.
This is 2017. You are going to work with new players. You are going to work with new administrative team. And indeed, as a country, we are also in a new dispensation. And we know that with the continuation of our package and support, the new Black Stars, as will come under you, may miraculously sail through to the next World Cup and also come home in the next tournament, not only with the qualification to the African Championships, but the cup itself. And what better moment it will be for us to have our own man in you being the one to lead the charge to bring down laurels to us.
Felix Nyakopong, the MD for Unibank, official bank of the Black Stars. And finally, we'll talk about juvenile football development here because former sports minister Neil Lanti van der Poy today donated some cash and football equipment to clubs within his constituency, the Ododo constituency.
The donation made by the MP for Ododo included a sum of 3,200 Ghana cedis and a set of match balls and football strips to support juvenile football clubs in his constituency. Van der Poy tells GH1 Sports this donation is a reflection of his commitment to help revive juvenile football in the country.
It is my intention to revive coast football. I've offered to even sports. I've talked to the Accra Coast
Association have offered to sponsor the course there.
Meanwhile, Van der Poel has also thrown his support behind Sule Muntari as FIFA considers taking disciplinary action against Italian football authorities over their poor handling of the racist abuse the Ghana midfielder suffered at the hands of Cagliari fans 2 weeks ago.
What happened is unfortunate, but I'm happy one Ghanaian player has proven to the whole world that racism has no place in modern day civilization and in sports.
Former Sports Minister Neil Van der Poel talking about juvenile football and Sule Muntari's racist abuse there. Very popular when he was in charge of sports in this country because of his dealings with the Football Association. But that's it for the Sports Brief. Tonight we have international news up next.
Dennis, thank you for greeting me. Time now to have a look at news making headlines across the world. Tonight we start off in Zimbabwe, where Zimbabwe's 93-year-old President Robert Mugabe has flown to Singapore for his medical checkups. That is yet the second African president who is flying out of the continent for his medical checkups. Reports say the world's oldest ruler, who has appeared increasingly frail in public, addressed delegates at a World Economic Forum meeting in South Africa last week, described as a slurred tone while slumped in his seat. Mr. Mugabe is expected back home in time for Saturday's funeral of former Chief Justice of Zimbabwe. Vice President Emmerson Mnangagwa is performing his duties in his absence. Despite Mr. Mugabe's advancing age, the ruling ZANU-PF party has endorsed him as its candidate in next year's presidential election. Mr. Mugabe has been in power since independence in 1980. And now moving along to Kenya, Kenya's Health Minister Cleopa Mailo has said that the ministry is committed to prudent financial management and accountability in its first reaction to the U.S. government's decision to suspend aid worth $21 million because of concern about corruption. Now, the ministry had been in contact with the U.S. government to address its concerns with a view to lifting the suspension. This response comes after the U.S. has suspended about $21 million in aid to Kenya's Ministry of Health following allegations of corruption earlier on today. The embassy said it was working with the ministry to improve accounting and internal controls, and it hoped to restore the funding when appropriate progress was made. Apparently, the $21 million given to Kenya by the U.S. was only a small portion of the overall U.S. health investment in Kenya, which exceeded 650 million rands. Kenya has been on the news quite recently about its corruption. It seems like the corruption there is really spiraling out of control. And now finally in South Korea, Liberal candidate Moon Jae-In has claimed victory in South Korea's presidential election. Now, remember that Mr. Moon favors greater dialogue with North Korea in a change to current South Korean policy. The early election was called after a corruption scandal led to the impeachment of the former president. Official results are yet to be released, but as you can see on your video, most of South Korea is jubilating, so he is indeed the choice of president for South Korea. That's all we have time for tonight on our international segment. Thank you so much for tuning in. Back over to you, Nana and Kweku.
Thank you very much, Charlotte Lesoso.
All right. So maybe next time I'll go for E-Zone. Look at tourism and some tourist sites.
Thinking of a holiday destination or a place to while away with family and friends?
Ghana is no doubt blessed with lots of tourist destinations. But here are a few of perhaps some unknown and unique tourist destinations. Looking for a new place to swing on the ropes with excitement, thrills and anxiety? Inside Accra is the Legon Botanical Gardens. The gardens may be well known to a lot of people, but there's a 110-kilometer canopy walkway and a high rope obstacle to spice up your occasion. Ever heard of the Tini Falls in Adasawasi in the eastern region? Its serene atmosphere and lush greenery environment makes the place a must visit. On the hilltop of the Odrianuma Mountain in the Kweu South District, harbors beautiful sceneries and interesting features such as ancestral caves, walkways and waterfalls. The Solo Forest is a sacred grove that has cultural significance to the Ga people of Botiano. It harbors various unique animals like the spot-nosed Guinean monkeys, nesting buzzards, hawks and the African grey parrots. Tourists can also enjoy a canoe ride to the remote villages made from mud and palm leaves.
The Cowbell Vita-Rich formula has been stolen. Get it back at all costs. Great tasting Cowbell with Vita-Rich has the 28 vitamins and minerals you need to be at the top of your game. Delicious, nutritious Cowbell with Vita-Rich, our milk.
A little helping hand will go a long way to get your meals tasting really delicious. So season your cooking with Unger for that delicious taste and irresistible aroma that will get your loved ones looking forward to mealtimes.
Unger.
Hey, yo, but why you flex me? Why you think say I be 20? My phone always the ring, cause the girls I get plenty. Flex. Hey, yo, but why you flex me?
You dey flex, oh.
Okay, so that's all we have for you on tonight's bulletin. But don't you forget, while we're coming your way with State of Affairs, of course, she's going to be driving you in that seat.
Thanks for the reminder, Kweku Tibing.
Nanaba Namoa, that's her name. We're
See you
grateful.
tomorrow.
What is A? Fee! Did you prepare your sobolo yesterday? Look at his face like Scooby-Doo.
Who is this lanky girl? Oh, you look better than I do. Do you eat? At least I'm in good shape. Will you girls shut up? What? Your name.
Intriguing, suspenseful, romance, inspiring college life, slick, beautiful, and intelligent quality.
See, the romance 316. Oh, hold it. I don't want to hear that crap.
When I say mambu tata, you say tataya. Mambu tatai. Mambu tatai.
No, you what? You what? No, I will shout. Yeah, you what? Hello, trouble. The boy talk so full. The boy talk so. Hello, trouble. Hello, trouble.
Yeah, to buy your soul. Hey, princesses. You know, I feel so much exuberance in my heart when I see guys like you coming to my duty post.
Hey, so you speak English?
Yes, so say yes, your phone is mambu tatai. Good truth in Kokra. My manu mini, Momena says, or Rosapo.